Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us at this Your Overseas Home webinar, all about buying in Cyprus and the important financial implications of that for you and your income. My name is Christopher Nye, Senior Editor at Your Overseas Home and Cyprus Property Guides. And today I'm chatting with Gillian Richards from Buchanan. It's great to have you all with us, either live or catching up on demand. I'm in the UK. Gillian is in Western Cyprus near Paphos, and we only have 30 minutes, so let's get on. If you have a question, please type it into the box on the right-hand side, and we'll get through as many as we can. Don't be shy. Please do ask away. We'll make sure that we've left some time at the end. And if you need a reminder of anything discussed today, or you want to share this with family or friends, a replay will be available afterwards, or you can watch it at the Your Overseas Home website. We'll be sending you contact details of everyone, of Gillian at the end, and so you can contact her directly. So, Gillian, it'd be great if you could start by giving us a quick summary as to who you are and how Buchanan can help our viewers today, and then go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, so hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Island of Love. To a little bit of background about myself, I have been in various positions within financial services for over 30 years, and I'm stopping at that anymore, and then, you know, everyone will be trying to guess how old I am. So when I was in the UK, I worked for GE Life, which was part of General Electric, moved on from there to Legal and General before I went overseas and spent 10 years working in Bermuda. And then for the last 2.5 years, I have been in Cyprus. I also am on some charity boards, both in Bermuda and also in Cyprus. Buchanan is a wealth management firm. We look after pensions and investments and help people with their tax situation and make it more efficient for them whilst they're living in Cyprus. So if we just move on and just talk about purchasing a property in Cyprus and why you would want to live in Cyprus. Well, the first thing is it's relatively low cost living in Cyprus. And trust me, living in a very expensive place like Bermuda, coming to Cyprus, it was a lot lower. If you're a wine drinker, there are plenty of vineyards on the island. If you haven't been on a wine tour and you come over, if you're looking for property, it's something you really must do. The lifestyle here it's really good. It's very relaxed. There are good restaurants. There's lots of sporting facilities, whether it's on the water or walking football, which is very big here. There's obviously tennis, but there's also paddle tennis, which is growing throughout Europe. And it's a very, good sport. So there's lots of things to do here, lots of activities. There's lots of groups. There are various third age groups, photography groups, walking groups. So there's plenty of things to do. If you're coming over here and looking to retire, and whether you're on your own or in a couple, there's lots of things that you can do. You can buy property here, and we're going to touch on a few different ways of getting residency. Cyprus does come out as one of the top destinations to retire in. And basically it's taxes are fairly on the low side, buying property on the low side, and bills and running costs are on the lower side. So as we just go through, buying property, stamp duty in Cyprus is a lot lower than it would be in the UK, obviously depending on the type of property that you buy. All these slides are available, as Christopher said, at the end, so you can have a look through, but they are quite low. If we move on to the next one, this is the bigger price that you would pay, and that is the transfer fees, the property transfer fees. And this is charged when you actually transfer the ownership to yourself, and this is done at the land registry. So this is obviously your lawyer will do this for you. It is something to be aware of. If you're buying a property on your own, it is actually more expensive. If it's two of you that are buying a property, then there is a discount for the two people buying. Now, we touched on one of the ways of residency. At the moment, you can get residency through buying property. Now, that is currently, it's only on new properties, and the level is, the minimum level is 300,000 euros. You need to just be aware, if you're doing that there is a 19% VAT charged on that property. Although that can be reduced to 5% if it is your main and primary residence, and basically you live there yourself and your family for 10 years. And also that you haven't already bought another property where you've had the reduced VAT rate. You have to be over 18, and the VAT for 5% when it's reduced is payable on the first 200 square meters of the property. And then the remaining area, if it's a bigger property, is charged at 19% VAT. Obviously, if you buy a small property and it's under the 200 square meters, then you would pay that reduced 5% if you're living in the property as your main residence for 10 years. Okay, some of the costs for living in Cyprus: you have separate local authority fees, you have municipality tax, and you have the sewerage tax. Now, local authority fees obviously depend on the property size, and you also have street lighting, have your rubbish collected, and community services. The municipality tax is charged by the local area where you live, and that is a bit like the council tax and the old rates that you used to pay in the UK. But again, it's based at the property value, as it says in the slide, from the 1st of January 2013. So it's quite a while ago. So it's not based on the value of the property. It's not based on the price you pay for the property now, but rather than it's based on the previous value back at the beginning of 2013. Sewerage tax, again, is payable again from the value of the property on the 1st of January 2013. What I would actually say is that not all properties are on mains sewerage. So if you're not on main sewerage, then you don't pay this tax. But obviously, you will have the various different, whether it's a cesspit or something similar, then obviously you're responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of that. If you haven't been to Cyprus and you're not on main sewerage, then it's a bit of an experience and something that you get used to when you first come out. The income tax in Cyprus is quite comparable and lower than some of the other places in Europe. The first thing that you need to be aware of is that you pay tax in Cyprus is based on the year from the 1st of January to the 31st of December. So if you came out mid-year or the second half of the year, you may not pay tax for that part of the year that you have been in Cyprus, because you need to be there ideally for 183 days. However, you may also be considered a tax resident in Cyprus if you've been there for 60 days. And that's basically if you haven't been anywhere else for 183 days and you've lived in Cyprus for at least 60 days. So again, if you're coming from the UK, you just need to look at timing it, because if you were to come out, say, in August this year, then you weren't, and say you were off somewhere else, you probably would still be tax resident in the UK, although that starts in April, but then you wouldn't pay tax in Cyprus until the middle of the, not the following year, but the year after. So if you came out in August this year, 2023, your first year for tax would be 2024. That runs from the 1st of January, 31st of December. So you would pay tax in June of 2025 because it goes backwards. Looking at the rates, if you have income of less than 19,500 euros per annum, there is no tax to pay. And then obviously there is a sliding scale that goes up, and once it goes to 60,000 euros, then anything over that is paid at 35%. When you do come to Cyprus, it is ideal that you register with the local tax office and that you get yourself a tax code. With the tax code, you will also get what they call a taxinet number, which is the number you use for the online tax return system. That system is usually available between June and July for around about 8 weeks for you to do your tax return. And it's really quite a simple thing to do. It will automatically tell you how much you pay, and then that amount you pay online through your own online banking with whichever bank you have in Cyprus. It's ideal that you do that, because if you don't have a Cyprus tax code and you have pensions overseas or even UK pensions, it is very difficult then to prove that you are tax resident in Cyprus, and therefore you will be charged at the emergency tax rate of that country. So for example, if you've got a pension, maybe a cure-ups because you've been overseas before, and that's in Malta, you will be paying a flat rate of 35%. If you're in the UK and you start drawing on that pension, you will pay emergency tax, so month one, week one tax. So it is ideal that you register with the local tax office once you've had your residency. Capital gains. Capital gains is mainly paid on the property. Once you come to sell it, that's all quite straightforward. Again, there are exemptions for the first amount. If it's a sale, then you're exempt from the first 85,430 euros. And you also, on top of that, get a 17,086 euro exemption. And if it's in joint names, you get that for both. The 85,000, you need to have lived in the property for at least 5 years in order to get that, and then that's a flat rate of 20%. Cyprus has a health system similar to the NHS. If you are coming over to Cyprus to work, then you will be have that fee deducted from your salary, and this is just giving you the rates. If you're not working in Cyprus, then it's difficult for you to register if you are not of UK state pension age. So if you're under 66, not claiming your UK state pension, and you're not working, you will need private medical insurance. Once you are paying the social insurance or the general healthcare payments, you need to be doing that for a minimum of 3 months before you can actually register. If you are over UK state pension age of 66 and you are claiming your UK state pension, then you can apply for HMRC for what they call an S1 certificate. And with that S1 certificate, you can then register with the Cyprus general health system. But you need to be aware that if you are registered through the S1 for the Cyprus health system, and you frequently go back to the UK, you will not be able to claim pay for health treatment on the NHS. So therefore, just be aware that you may well be charged for the NHS if that's what you're using. Okay, next one. Checklist. This is because of Brexit, the lovely word. Now it's been a couple of years since Brexit and we're now over COVID. It's very, very important that to remember that your UK financial advisor will not be able to give you any advice if you are living in the EU. If you have pensions in the UK, if you have ISAs, then ideally you need to speak to your advisor there, and speak to us, because it's a misconception that ISAs are treated the same way in Cyprus. They are not. If you have an ISA in the UK, you cannot, and you have moved away, you cannot continue to pay into it. So you just need to be aware. ISAs are not tax-free in Cyprus. So if you're taking money from it, again, you need to come and speak to us, because we'll be able to talk to you and go through the better tax efficient ways for you with your savings and investments. Again, if you are selling a property in the UK, ideally you need to complete on that before you become a Cyprus resident. Quite often in reality, if you're selling a UK property, you're going to use the proceeds from that property to buy the property in Cyprus. So you will have already completed on that. Cyprus wills, this particularly affects property. When you buy property, if it's in joint names, then it's usually you buy the property, one half for one side, one half for the other. So it's quite straightforward. If you have only been married once and you've got children between you, your children will automatically get the ownership of the property. If you have stepchildren, then that's a little bit trickier, because whoever's children they are will get that half of the couple and the other half will go to the other children. So again, it is best just to talk to an advisor like myself or your lawyer, and then they can talk things through. The other thing with Cyprus wills is that if you have a will in the UK, then you can stipulate in your Cyprus will that you want your estate distributed under the laws of your country of birth. And then that way that will happen. You need to set up a Cyprus will, though, if you want the property to go split between 4 children, 2 children, if you've got stepchildren. Again, your lawyer or ourselves will be able to help you with that. I've added this slide in because not everyone is aware that from the 1st of January this year, there were changes to the residency application for third country nationals. Now, these are just some of the key points that I have put in there that you may not be aware of. Now, there are reasons that this is put in place. The first one, if you look at what the annual income level is, and if you remember back earlier, I said that up to 19,500 euros, you don't pay tax. This is now set at €24,000 per annum. Now, this is for one person. So straight away, you'll see that you will be paying tax on the excess above 19,500. If you have a spouse or dependent children, then that amount per annum goes up. If it's just you and a spouse, the spouse level goes up by 20%. So you just need to be aware of that. If you are working and you've got income, then it's €2,000 per month income generated outside of Cyprus. So that could be UK pensions, that could be occupational pension, that could be state pension. Okay, and obviously if you've got savings, then that will come through as well. It is now a requirement that anyone who holds a British passport needs to have a police check from your country of origin or residence. So it's very simple to get a police check in the UK. You can apply online and then it gets sent through to you. This has actually been a requirement for opening a bank account since the 1st of January 2021. So anyone who's been here before that, that hadn't opened a bank account like myself, I have an EU passport, my husband does not. I could open a bank account, he needed a police check. So that was just something just to be aware of. You also now need to have a couple of medical certificates. So you need one, you need to have a blood test to show that you do not suffer from hepatitis B and C, HIV and syphilis. This is not just aimed at UK residents. This is also other third national countries. So although being British, you may think that this is something that's out of the ordinary, there are lots of countries that ask for this anyway. And because the UK is now a third country nation, we now have to comply with all these rules. And the last one that I've put on here is a chest x-ray, and that's to show that you're clear from tuberculosis. And again, I've lived overseas, and as I mentioned at the beginning, I lived in Bermuda. As I say, that's 13 years ago. And when I first went to Bermuda, I had to have a chest x-ray. So they're quite actual simple to get. It is just something else that you just need to think about. And you need, before you come to Cyprus, because you need to have these with you when you come to Cyprus. There's a few other things as well, but these are the main ones that I've added in for you. And that's just basically it. And that's my contact details. So
okay, we'll leave that slide up, and then people can jot down your details. Although, like I say, I think we do send you an email anyway with those details. Okay, we've got quite a few questions coming in. We haven't got a great deal of time, so we'll rattle through them as fast as we can. So Wendy is saying, can you clarify the 24,000? Is that per person? So 48,000 per couple?
No, it's not. It's not per person. I'm just trying to get the actual wording. Just bear with me. I have blurred copies of the information here. I'm just trying to quick. No, so it increases, as I mentioned, it increases by 20% for spouse. So it's 24%, it's 20% of the 24,000. And then for each child that you have, it is a further 15%.
Okay, great. Right, so questions coming in, so they're all flicking up past me. Can the €24,000 income come from UK employment?
It can come from UK employment, yes, as long as it's generated, it's €2,000 per month, as long as the income is generated from outside of Cyprus.
So you can effectively be what they call these days a digital nomad. You can come and live in Cyprus, but work from online from a UK company. And
okay, so this requirement for the 24,000 is for you to have residency in Cyprus. Right. Doing digital nomad is a completely different visa.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, one thing I probably should have mentioned is that when you come to Cyprus, because you get the residency, it is renewable every 12 months. Okay, so just need to be aware of that. Also, if you have that residency, that does not give you the permission to work. You need a separate work visa, which would be obtained by the company that you were working for. They would have to get that visa for you.
I see. Okay. Okay, Keith is asking, if you have pension income which falls below the minimum requirements, but you have savings, would that be acceptable?
Yeah, you can, with your first permit, if you show that you've got €10,000 in your Cyprus bank account, then that is enough to get the permit through. At the end of the day, Cyprus doesn't really mind where the money's coming from, as long as it's not in Cyprus, but that you have that there, that you have the money that you can live on without having to go, to ask for help.
Okay. Right, Peter is asking, we have a property in Cyprus. When they're in last year, our solicitor said that the 90 days in 180 rule doesn't apply, as Cyprus is part of the Commonwealth. Is that correct? I know it's not in the Schengen area, but
no, that's not correct. Yeah, if you've got property, holiday property, you can come for 90 days within the 180-day period, and they are bringing in the new systems at the airport to double check that people are not staying over. If you come back within that 180-day period and you've already spent your 90 days, you will be turned away.
Okay, interesting. I have a friend who I was talking to this morning who's been living in Germany on a 90 days thing, and he realized he's been overstaying and has been in and out of the airport a dozen times without being picked up. So I wonder if they've got those processes organized yet.
Yeah, they're bringing in the new computer systems into the airports. So that'll be how they know, because no one's going to just sit there and see when you were last stamped in and out. They're not doing it. So you may be getting away with it now, but once the new computer systems come in, which is in the next few months, and should be in by the summer, you will not be able to do that.
Okay, got it. So, okay. Right, David is asking, can I keep a property in the UK and if I'm resident in Cyprus?
Yes, you can keep a property in the UK. Yeah.
No problem there.
No.
Linda is asking, do I have to register for tax in Cyprus when I already pay UK tax on a private pension and rental income?
Okay. So this goes down to your tax residency. So if you move permanently to Cyprus, and you're there 183 days, then you should be paying tax in Cyprus. If you are paying tax on your pension in the UK, there is a form that you fill in and is stamped by the tax office in Cyprus, depending on where you live. As you say, I live near Paphos. Paphos is my local district. They stamp the form, it goes to HMRC, and HMRC will then not charge you tax on that UK pension because you'll be paying it in Cyprus.
Okay.
If you rent a property in the UK and you are doing that through your self-assessment, then depending on the level of income that you get, you may do, if you're below the personal allowance in the UK, you will still do your self-assessment. If you are not paying tax on that because it's below the personal allowance, you declare it in Cyprus, and you do now have to declare that you've got rental income coming from the UK because it's income. You will pay tax in Cyprus. You get an allowance for maintenance off that money. So, you know, it'll be a nominal amount that you pay, but you have to declare it in Cyprus.
Okay. Right, we've got so many questions. So let's just, if you've got the time, can we just stick around for another 4 or 5 minutes just to answer through these questions? Okay. Anthony is asking, is the 24,000 euros gross or net?
It is the gross amount.
Okay, fine. Can the medical tests be completed in the UK, or do they have to be done in Cyprus?
No, you need to do them in the UK and bring the test results with you. They will then, you need to go to a doctor who will then just go through, double check them, and then he will stamp them and certify them.
Okay. One question about, I noticed on the local taxes, they're only like 500, maximum of 500 euros. Our local taxes include things like education, police, precept, all that kind of stuff. And they're a couple of thousand. So if you're just buying a holiday home, do you sort of get away with not paying for any of those things, or is there a different way that the Cypriot government raises money for those matters?
Okay, so the holiday home is your home, so you will be paying the municipality and the local charge, the local authority charge. So they cover some of those things. You will pay that anyway if you own a property in Cyprus.
Okay. Right.
There isn't a separate one on top of.
Okay. Simon is asking if there's a maximum amount of money that can be transferred to Cyprus in one go.
Oh, yes. No, there isn't. But anything over 15,000 euros that you transfer in, you will be asked by your bank for anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing requirements. You will be asked to prove where that money came from. So if you have that money that you've used that is from your saved through work, you need to show your payslips, P60, and then you need to show the money paid into the bank.
Okay. Simon, you need to speak to Smart Currency Exchange, who help us to at these events, and they will transfer your money and do all those checks for you. And so do give Smart Currency Exchange a call. Right, we'll just do the last couple. Let me just go down to the bottom. What are Simon is asking, might be the same Simon, what are the implications of having your pension paid to you in Cyprus?
Sorry, what are the...
Well, the question is, what are the implications of having your pension paid to you in Cyprus? Are there any?
You can have your pension paid in Cyprus.
And you get a very good exchange rate. I think the government pays it straight in, don't they? So there's no...
No, there's no problem. There's lots of people here have it paid directly into their bank account in Cyprus. You'll be claimed as part of your annual income, monthly income. So you're still going to be paying tax in Cyprus on it. Or go
okay. Because Nick has asked if you can continue to pay tax in the UK on your pension, even if you move to Cyprus, but I'm guessing not.
Well, it was the same thing about the residency. There is a double taxation agreement between the UK and Cyprus, so that you don't pay tax in both countries. It's where you're tax resident, and that is, where do you live the most? Are you in Cyprus for 183 days? Are you in the UK? And that will answer the question.
Okay. Right. Well, I think we've run out of time now. So the platform will kick us out if we don't bring it to an end. But look, we've had so many great questions. It's been quite exciting to read through them all so quickly and to pass on those that we could to Gillian. The good news is that we have our big event, our whole day thing, and it's only about 6 weeks away. It's on the well, a bit more. It's on the 25th of March. It's Your Overseas Home Virtual, and you will have all day to chat to Gillian and other people from Chase Buchanan, who also cover American destinations as well. So anyone coming from other areas. So that's on the 25th of March. Just pop over to the Your Overseas Home website, and you can register for that. Thank you once again to Gillian. Like I say, you'll get a recording of this, or you can find it at Your Overseas Home. Do email Gillian with your individual questions. I'm sure she'll be happy to answer. And yeah, and good luck with your move or your property purchase in Cyprus. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you, Gillian.
Thank you.